Well, I want to put this out because really it's common sense. Nikola Tesla really did tell us the secret to longevity when he said that the universe, if you want to understand everything about the universe, you think of it in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And I'm going to relate a couple things here. First off, when you're talking about frequency and vibration, you might want to think about a cat. A cat is one of the animals out there that is one of the best self healers going. Any veterinarian will tell you that, and I know there's theories as to why the cat heals faster than the dog, but any veterinarian will tell you that a cat can have several broken bones and in no time they're healed up, whereas a dog, it could be quite a problem. It could take quite a time to heal up, if ever. And a lot of it's theorized due to the vibration that the cat puts out. Now, I could tell you some other things. I've been experimenting a lot with, the different zappers and also the Spooky 2 device, which imparts like a vibration frequency directly from your DNA in the sample holder to the DNA in your body. And I really can't. There's some testimony I could say that I think where it works. One of the things I thought was the most, solid was when I got rid of the fleas that were bothering my cat. I was able to get rid of fleas using a frequency of 2,750. But I've also experimented with the Beck zapper, the Beck style zapper, which puts out a frequency of 3.91 hertz, which is half the Schumann Earth frequency, to 4 hertz, right? And I really experimented with it. I mean, I did a lot more than most people did. I was using a couple hours a day. I was using 8 hours a day. There was a period of time where I used two of those Beck zappers, and I think it's not so much that it's the voltage or it's the Beck schematic exactly. I think it's the frequency that's really doing it. And I can't really prove it because I'm a one person. But I remember when I did the Beck style zapper for 16 hours a day using two zappers, one set up ankle to ankle and one set up wrist to wrist, electrifying the blood at the 3.91 hertz, half the Schumann Earth frequency. I had tremendous amount of energy. I remember I was working out 3 hours a day, plus doing all kinds of physical labor during the day, and just tremendous energy. It's probably true that some of the frequencies out there are known for like stimulation and growth. Now that Beck style zapper is known for like it's also known as a plant stimulator. Parazapper has those frequencies incorporated in a couple of their zappers, like the My Zapper, the many zappers in one, the 3.91 hertz and a 4 hertz, and also 1 hertz. 1 hertz is something known to bring about. Well, it's listed as bringing about a type of stimulation, especially like its type of stimulation of the pineal gland. I think anything from 1 hertz to the 4 hertz range is actually beneficial to stimulating the body's growth. But the other side of it is nutrition. So, like when Tesla was talking about, think of the terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. So, vibration could be, well, it could just be simply vibration, like the cat feels the vibration from its purring, but it's also vibrating at a certain frequency. And I think anytime you put a frequency in the body, that is causing a vibration, even if you don't feel it. Like in the case of using the Spooky 2 remote with the DNA hooked from the Mobius coil, where it's going directly into your DNA, even though you don't feel that vibration, it's there. It's vibrating your DNA at a specific frequency, whatever you set it to. And there's a lot of theories as to what frequencies do different things. But the other side of it is energy. Now, there's two things where I think of this. One is energy coming from food, which it could be like baking soda. which actually it's the bicarbonate, not it's sodium bicarbonate, but the bicarbonate in baking soda is electron donor. You really can't get too much bicarbonate. Maybe you could get too much sodium, but that electron donor is something that can actually bring up the electrical charge in all your cells. Also, vitamin C, which is actually a hormone, but also an electron donor. A very safe electron donor where you can take massive amounts of vitamin C, which I have been doing for the last couple of years. I've been taking 30,000 units of 30,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and feel fine. That could be going along with the aspect where Nicola Tesla talks about energy. Because I think if you get the right mix of energy, frequency, and vibration, we might be living many hundreds of years and staying young with minimal effort. A lot of times when we're looking at, like say for instance in Russia, they'll have, or East Europe, they'll have the Russian beet juice or borscht. Very helpful for the body, but it's also, there's other things going on. A lot of times when people are taking these foods that cause longevity, what they're bringing about is they're bringing energy into the body, like chaga, which is a type of mushroom that's like found. It looks like it's growing on the side of trees. It almost looks like a tree bark. Not well known, but a lot of times I think it's still following those same basic three aspects that if you want to understand the universe, it's energy, it's frequency, and it's vibration. But it's like if you want to understand how the body works, you understand how to extend life, it's energy, frequency, and vibration. One of the things we can learn the most from, I think, is the cat. The cat is something whereby the cat's purring is a self-healing mechanism in its body. It's the only animal out there that has that. Cats also have that capability of producing their own vitamin C. But if you want to look at an animal that really produces a lot of vitamin C per kilogram, it would be the goat, the billy goat, which you understand that the billy goat can pretty much eat any kind of toxin on the ground, garbage, and not get sick. And that's because of all the copious amounts of vitamin C that the billy goat produces in their body. Now, I would not. One thing I'm kind of wondering about if somebody was taking massive amounts of true liposomal vitamin C, such as made by Live On Labs, like say taking 20,000 units of it, plus oral vitamin C, I'd almost wonder what would happen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if that would be unhealthy or bad, or that would be good. But one of the disadvantages of taking regular vitamin C is a lot of it doesn't get into the body. But what I've been taking recently now is what's called Willard water, which is a type of catalyst that enables nutrients to get deep into cells, be passed into the cells a lot easier. So I'm taking the Willard water, I'm taking the vitamin C, I'm taking the other types of vitamins like Nature's Way Alive and different various herbs, also B12, biotin, and all that type of stuff. And I'd imagine that with the combination of the Willard water, it's allowing these nutrients to energize the cells. So, look at the basic, I almost call it the Trinity of Tesla. When he's talking about its energy, vibration, and frequency. So there's certain frequencies that actually can be bad. Certain frequencies can make you sluggish or maybe even do harm to the body. A few of them out there. Most of them won't, though. But one of the ones to be done is one of the safest frequencies out there is the natural frequencies that are put out by the Earth, like the Schumann Earth frequency. So that's 7.83 hertz. So if you're adding that frequency to your body with electrical impulse or through sound, even by listening to something with that sound, I would assume that's beneficial. Now, I think that, and I think I'm the only one that really experimented extensively with the Beck Zapper. And it's not so much that it's his design or that it puts out a certain amount of voltage, and this is my opinion, though, or that it's an AC voltage versus a DC voltage. I think it's actually the frequency where the benefit is occurring. It's probably better to have, the 3.91 hertz with a positive offset like found in the Parazapper. But I do know that when I used 2 of those Beck style zappers for 16 hours a day, and it was a nuisance doing this, though. That was the problem. You had to wear it while I was sleeping. I had to wear it for a good part of the day. But I noticed I had tremendous energy. Tremendous energy. I think it was actually stimulating growth or causing oxygen uptake to occur. Now, I'm not going to go along with all the Beck's claims, or I'm not going to go along with any Zapper claims out there. But I'm just telling you what my experience was. And I think about this, and I relate this with what Nikola Tesla said. If you want to understand the universe, or like if you just even want to understand the human body, longevity, and health, think of terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. As a matter of fact, even vibration could cause a stimulation of blood flow. You always see those things where people stand on them. They walk around all day and they stand on this like pad, and it vibrates their feet and their ankles and they're up into their calves, and all of a sudden they don't have tired. They're not tired from standing so long. What that did was it caused the blood flow to get going again. As a matter of fact, if you look at one of the major problems why people get sicker in a hospital, it's actually due to lack of blood flow. That's even why they get bed sores. They have to be rolled around. If they made these hospital beds with a certain vibrational frequency in them, where you hit a button and they vibrate it maybe an hour a day, even if it was at the 7.83 hertz to Schumann Earth frequency, I'd imagine everybody in a hospital would have much shorter stays. But they don't do this type of thing. They don't do this type of thing. Actually, I think everything in the medical profession today is run by big money that are looking to cull the population in the United States and the world. So you're not going to see these type of things. Getting down that trail and even talking about imparting energy into the body, a lot of times where all these foods impart energy into the body is because they're electron donors. You look at all the powerful herbs out there. You look at certain vitamins like vitamin C. They're electron donors. Baking soda has been a known healer for just about everything, and that's because of the bicarbonate ion that's in the sodium baking soda that imparts an electron into the body. Now, I'm not sure if on the Parazapper or the Hulda Clark style zapper that it's donating an electron into the body as it zaps. It may be. I know that Hulda Clark has claimed that it causes your immune system cells to become supercharged immune system cells, but if it does that with the immune system cells, why wouldn't it be doing it with all the cells? One of the facts out there that a lot of people don't realize is that microbes and healthy body cells are oppositely charged. Microbes are positively charged, and they are acidic, and the body cells are negatively charged, and they're alkaline, slightly alkaline. A healthy body cell it's like a battery that has a half a volt negative voltage. So a lot of times when you're taking foods that are electron donor, it's causing the battery to have a little more electrolyte in it. That's what's happening. But the problem is sometimes when you're taking these foods, it's not directly getting into the battery. It's not going past the cell wall of the human cell to get in there and charge the battery. Now, that's one of the advantages of taking this liposomol vitamin C by Live On Labs. And I'm not a commercial for them, but it's a method whereby the vitamin C, the electron donor portion of it, goes directly inside the cell. So it's like putting electrolyte directly in the cells. Um, Now I know there's other, like, that actually doesn't work like that with the homemade vitamin C. It doesn't. It's not. It's not any of this homemade vitamin C. I didn't notice right away, but I found out much later on. The homemade vitamin C that you make with the electron cleaner doesn't do that. It actually will not. It's not a true liposomol. And actually even Dr. Mercola's vitamin C he advertised as liposomol, which maybe you shouldn't be saying this. It's not a liposomol. I don't know. I know Live On Labs is legit, but there's probably some other ones out there, I'm sure. But I always get Live On Labs stuff. But I don't take it every day, because if you're going to take 5 or 10 of those every day, I'd say that that could add up to a lot of money. I mean, so 300 days worth to be $1,500 after no time, and maybe that's a small amount of money. I don't know, but what I've been doing is taking the Willard water with the regular vitamin C in hopes that possibly the Willard water will cause the regular vitamin C to go into the cells directly, because the Willard water is actually a catalyst for nutrients. But you don't want to think of it as a nutrient. You want to think of it as an electron donor, which is energy, imparting energy into the cells. Now, all the body cells actually have a frequency. Actually, different parts of the body cells, not only are they have a battery voltage and they're alkaline, but they also have a vibrational frequency. This is the human body. Now, different parts of the body have different frequencies, and it usually runs, I think, 60 or 70,000 hertz is something like an average. And as a cell dies, the battery voltage goes closer to zero, and it becomes more. That's where it starts becoming cancerous, and then also it's losing its slight alkaline charge, and it's also losing its vibrational frequency. That's why a lot of times these herbal remedies do help to reverse and alleviate or slow down cancer, because what they're doing is they're causing the battery voltage to go to the half a volt negative and the cells to go alkaline, which is the same thing. Alkalinity and the slight negative voltage is actually synonymous terms, and it then thereby increases the voltage, increases the vibrational frequency of the cell. But possibly you can actually do this through the spooky 2, which is something where you're putting a vibrational frequency into the cell through quantum entanglement by putting your DNA in the Mobius coil. So, I could tell you, though, one thing I was surprised about, though. I remember this is some years ago. I tried this, and it's a pain. It's not a pain, but I mean it's a lack of a better word. I mean it's a nuisance, time-consuming, and an inconvenience to run 2 Beck-style zappers 16 hours a day. But I was experimenting with those extensively for a while, and I don't think it's necessarily because it's a Beck-style zapper. I think it's this frequency. The 3.91 hertz to 4 hertz are known for growth and stimulation, and help improve the oxygen uptake of nutrients into the cells directly. And not just the oxygen uptake, but the nutrients too. But I noticed I had tremendous energy. I didn't notice that much of a difference, and it was like, and I try to really be objective about. Let me say this: I had a lot of doubts. I was thinking to myself, "Nah, that was a fluke. Maybe that one day I just had a lot of energy." So I kept continuing with that experiment. Now, I don't think it's necessarily that it's the Beck-style zapper. I think it's the fact that it's this frequency, the 3.91 hertz to 4 hertz, which is also, you can find that in the parazapper, which also includes the positive offset, which can help supercharge the immune system cells. But I've noticed that there was no doubt it wasn't psychosomatic, because I couldn't believe it. It was, to give an example, I think the third day I tried this stuff, And I was zapping extensively before this. With the third, I was doing maybe 8 hours a day. Then I started upping it to 12, 16 hours a day, and I started using 2 zappers for 16 hours a day. But I remember I had lots and lots and lots of energy. And I remember the third or fourth day I did the 16 hours a day. I remember I was outside doing yard work, mowing the lawn with a hand mower for like hours in the sun. And here it was during later on in the day. I should have been exhausted, tired. It was after midnight. I got on my elliptical machine and I used my heart rate monitor. I was doing true cardio for 3 hours straight, from like 1 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning, after doing all that stuff during the day out there in the hot sun. I says, and this was after, and I was like working out every day. I was working out every day for 3 hours a day then. So I have a very strong suspicion it works. But then on the other side of it is, I'm not sure if there's something downside to it where it's harmful. Like, in other words, that was why I stopped doing it. Because it was like, is this going to be like this forever? It seemed like too good to be true. And when something's too good to be true, it is too good to be true usually, right? But maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. So I figured I'd relay that out there because I was, and I personally think the the zapper with the positive offset used at the 3.9 hertz to 4 hertz would probably be a better bet than using the Beck zapper, because according to Holder Clark, that it supercharges the immune system cells, which I think also supercharges all the cells by, I can't say for sure what it's doing, because those were her words, but I could tell you what my experiments were, and this was some years ago, and I don't think I was the only one that ever did this kind of garbage. Nobody did this garbage. Nobody. Nobody used a Beck style zapper as extensively as I have. But I was a little worried about, is there a downside to this? Is this causing some harm that, it's almost like, I don't want to compare it to like a drug or something, but maybe it is. I mean, maybe it's almost like, I could drink espresso coffee 10 times a day and maybe feel like I'm wired for several days. And what would happen, 2 years from now? What would happen? Something bad? Probably. I would think that would be bad because eventually it would catch up to you, right? So I'm not sure if, extensive use of the zapper is a good thing in the long term. It's a good thing in the short term by the results. So, we'll see. We'll see. And I figured I'd just relay this because when I look at what Nikola Tesla said with, if you want to understand the universe, think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And if you want to understand the human body, longevity, and the secrets to good health, think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And the term energy, when you're thinking of human health, is something whereby it's a little deceptive because energy is imparted into the human body by electron donors from like vitamin C, bicarbonate, or by, herbal formulas that are electron donors, usually to herbs, and also the foods themselves. Like bland food, processed food, has a frequency of 0. Now, if you're getting into unprocessed food, it's got a higher frequency. But then if you get into herbally grown, organically grown food, it's got a higher frequency than fresh food. Then if you get into herbs have a higher frequency than organically grown food. Then if you get into the essential oils, they have the highest frequency. That's why some of these real high quality essential oils are such great healers, because they're bringing up the frequency of the body. But of course, medical profession, they ignore all this stuff, but some of it's ancient wisdom that's been around for a long period of time. And it may be that is why the ancients revered the cat. I don't know, the pharaohs and the ancient Egyptians revered the cat because the cat was something that an animal that they said was a gift from the gods. You know, maybe there's some wisdom to that. If you look back at some of the things that were built in ancient Egypt, you know, the pyramids and all that, and the Sphinx, it's amazing how accurately they built that. You know, we always like to make it look like there had thousands of people moving these things around on stones around to build these things. And probably not true. They're probably far more sophisticated than we give them credit for, and somehow the knowledge was lost. Um, but yeah, I just figured I'd relay this in some of my experiences. I've also found that um, even like ozone, drinking ozonated water, you'll feel a lot more alert. Even a slight amount of ozone, and I'm talking about a very slight amount, because you're not supposed to breathe that into your lungs, but if it, you know, but there always is a slight amount of ozone that's in the air after a thunderstorm and after lightning, because that's just natural ozone. That's that fresh smell you smell after, you know, lightning and after a rainstorm. Um, a slight amount of ozone that's being produced in your house through like an ozonator is actually a good thing. A slight amount. A lot of ozone is very harmful to your lungs. But I wanted to, you know, bring this out because a lot of times I don't think that people are thinking of health in the real right terms. Think of what Tesla said: energy, vibration, and frequency. But then you have to understand that energy is actually the foods. And when you're going up the food pyramid, not the way the government has the food pyramid, but the real food pyramid would be processed foods or the garbage on the bottom, then you know, regular agricultural fresh foods are the next one up. Then the next one up from there would be organically grown foods. Then the next one up from there would be herbs. Then the top of the pyramid would be essential oils. As a matter of fact, I want to leave you with this thought. There's like, if you look in the Guinness World Book of Records for the longest living cat, it was by a guy, I think, who owns a bunch of cats. It was in Texas. And he fed some of his indoor cats a mixture of food that he made himself. It had like eggs in it, spinach, and I don't know, a bunch of stuff. I forgot what it was. You know, he didn't really tell you what the secret was. But he had the longest living cat in the world. It lived to be 38 years old. And he had another cat that lived to be 35. So I don't think it was a fluke that the one lived to be 38. It was because of the foods he gave, which is talking about, you know, the electron donors that bring up the battery charge to the correct amount of voltage, which would be a half a volt negative, which thus bring up the frequency of the cells to extend life. So a lot of people aren't thinking of this stuff. And I can also say this: vibration is something in your attitude. A positive attitude brings about good vibrations. As a matter of fact, you know, if you look at scientific studies on the structure of water, they could show like certain types of harsh music makes the structure of water look bad and be harmful. As a matter of fact, microwave water given to plants will kill them after a while. But if you look at this, if you just, you know, having the right kind of music to water, you know, the structure of water will show a better, more healthful structure of water. And this actually works with the human body. This is called positive attitude, positive thinking. And by positive reinforcement of everybody around you, it helps everybody across the board. It's not like everything is rigidly defined, whereby you say, you know, I'm this and I'm that, and words and things don't hurt or do harm. They do harm, or they can do good. That's called a positive. It's just like a positive vibration out there. As a matter of fact, it even goes along with religion. Religion is something whereby people pray for the betterment of mankind, or helping people that they don't know where their prayers are going. They those things, when you're bringing out those good vibrations and good feelings, they actually are helping somewhere along the line. And I think that's it's like, I don't think people are their own little domain. I think the people, the animals, and this whole entire earth are all interconnected. So, although I don't call myself a tree hugging environmentalist, but I do understand that we have to work in harmony with nature too, which means it's kind of going back to the old you know native ways that were in America. So let me just say, leave you with this thought, that Tesla is probably his little cliche about energy, vibration, and frequency to be in the understanding of the universe is actually the understanding of the human body and longevity and your best health. But you have to understand what each one of those words mean in terms of food and your environment, and getting away from the city life, being in one with nature, and that type of stuff. Not just that the word energy will tell you the whole story, or the word vibration will tell you the whole story, or frequency. But there's a lot of aspects to every single one of those words. It could be high-tech stuff, or it could be low-tech stuff. Just want to add this also on the end, like, I know there's like healing waters that talk about healing springs. It'll have like a high ion content. Well, you can artificially make that, and it's not really artificial. It's a natural, just by putting sodium bicarbonate in the water. You can make your own healing springs that'll impart and donate electrons to the body, just like the best alkalizing water there is, just by using plain old sodium bicarbonate baking soda in the water. I put this out on other videos, but I don't know how much attention they get. But that's a method of detoxification, but it's also a method of bringing up your vibrational frequency, charging your batteries, and alkalizing your body at the same time, and then giving you more energy. Some of the simplest things are the strongest things out there. And the people that are on a treadmill with greed, looking for angles, they don't like people knowing this kind of information. So, eventually, I think the good is going to conquer the evil, and that's just how it's going to be. So, stick with the good.